Hello everyone. This is going to be what I hope is a short video on the three-part analytic summary. The reason I'm going to go over it is because the rubric is a rubric I borrowed from another course. I did not create this rubric, but I need to revise it. So before I do that, I want to talk about the rubric and what exactly I expect in the three-part analytic summary. Of course, part one, how do the results of your revised test offer a clear picture of the two test takers? Okay, you may have more than two test takers. It depends on which class I'm teaching. Sometimes there are 3 people in a group, sometimes there are 4 or maybe even 5. So I think the more the merrier, because you can get a better idea the more people that take your test. But typically you only have 2. So take that with a grain of salt. Your 2 test takers, it could be 3 or 4. Okay, the 3-point score says response demonstrates quote unquote robust evidence of understanding how test construction results show the test taker's mastery of learning targets. So the key there is learning targets. You have to use at least 3 specific examples and explain them clearly. So I have in course materials, and I will also add it to this video, that there is an exemplar. Actually, there are 2 exemplars. I removed one because it just wasn't a good one. So this is the exemplar number 2 that I think is the best example of what I expect and what good, robust evidence is. You'll notice that this person is using APA format throughout the summary, and that's required. You'll notice that they cited Chapaway, Stiggins, Chapaway, and Arter 2012. They used the whole title when the first time that they reference the text. And if you reference it from then on, in each paragraph you just need to put Chapaway et al. But here this person did not need to put Chapaway et al. In the same paragraph, just the page number. So keep that in mind. Proper APA format is just using the page number in the same paragraph unless there's another citation in between. So one of the things I wanted to point out here is that you always give the score of your 2 test takers. You can see here final score 63%, 95%. That gives you and me an idea of the overall picture of their progress or of their achievement. So that is something that they are looking for when you do the EdTPA as well. They want a list of your student scores or the focused learner scores, depending on if you're taking the special ed or the elementary ed TPA. So that's a big idea. When you're analyzing your test takers, give the overall score, and then talk about each specific learner, their strengths and their weaknesses in relation to the learning targets. That is so important. That the whole purpose of this test is to see if your students or test takers have mastered your learning targets. You learned that when you created it. You'll learn it when I grade your selective response test. It's all about learning targets. Your questions are aligned with learning targets, and you will be able to tell from your test. And of course, this is just a small sample. The EdTPA would take a much larger test to really assess the knowledge of the EdTPA. But this is an example of how to do that, and to get you used to doing it, give you a taste of what it's like to analyze a test. So in part 1, you're going to talk about strengths and weaknesses, and then focus on the learning targets. In part B, you're going to talk about what you would reteach. And again, you're going to focus on your learning targets. Now, I want to bring your attention to a couple of documents. One is the rubric in the EdTPA, rubric 11, assessing the focused learner's performance. And you'll notice that I've highlighted here a level 3, the focused learner's strengths and errors, or levels of or types of planned supports, including error prevention strategies, to understand the focused learner's progress towards all lesson objectives. So you have to, that's an either or to get a 3. And to get a 4, you have to do both. Analysis draws upon knowledge of the focused learner and focuses on details within the strengths and errors and levels of types of planned support, including error prevention strategies. So that is the EdTPA rubric. And I'm going to also point to focus on, this is the other document I included in course materials when we did this assignment, the EdTPA Making Good Choices. And you can see here it says Analyzing Teaching Effectiveness. So this is the second part of that, of your analytic summary. Considering my learner's response to instruction, if I could teach this lesson again, what would I do differently and why would I make these changes? So that's important. So that's part 1, both A and B, of what I expect, what I consider robust evidence. All right, let's go on to the second part of the 3-part analytic summary, where this is where you're really going to cite the text, because this is you need to tell me 3 different ways that you've learned about what you've learned about the test creation process, and you're going to reference the text, Chapaway et al., which is in course materials. I gave you 2 chapters, and I believe it's session. It's in the session folder where I gave the assignment for creating it. So it's going to be different depending on if you're doing if you're in the course doing elementary EdTPA or if you're in the course doing the special ed EdTPA. But this is where you need to reference the text, reference the materials that I put in the text, how to create learning targets, how to is this a trick question? That was a pamphlet that's in course materials, the Chapaway article, and the Popham article, Popham chapter. Now, I didn't assign the Popham chapter in my special ed class, and I added it to course materials in my Success Academy class, but Popham also goes over how to create selective response tests. So you should be citing those materials. Like I learned that you need to put in the fill in the blank question, the blanks need to be at or near the end, and you can cite the Chapaway text, chapter 5, because it is in that text where it says that. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, you have to use APA format here for that, and that's for session 2. So you have 3 distinct sections. Usually it's 3 paragraphs. This person had 4 paragraphs, but you need to do it in 3 different characteristics, 3 different explanations. The last one is about the EdTPA, and this I want you to be specific about. Not and try to avoid. I learned you need to have at least 3 videos. Okay, that's great, but I want you to go a little bit deeper here. And then you, in each paragraph here, you need to cite the different parts of the EdTPA to which you're referring. So it's not just, I learned a lot from the EdTPA, things I didn't know, and that's it. No, you need to cite the EdTPA, and this is a good example of how that person did that. And then, of course, you have a reference list, and it needs to be indented. The second line and subsequent lines need to be indented. I'll do that here, and it looks like it disappeared from the page. But that's what the reference list looks like. You'll notice the title of the book is in lowercase except for the first letter. This second edition, I think, it should look like this. Oops. And I think that's how their APA wants it. So that's an overall look at what I'm expecting from the EdTPA, what robust evidence looks like, because the rubric is not a very good rubric, and you're probably saying, well, why are you using it, Dr. Tom? It's because I haven't got around to changing it yet. And I'm hoping to do that in the very near future. So that's it for creating the three-part analytic summary. I hope this has helped you, and I'm expecting everyone to get an A+ on this assignment.